Hi, this is SJ Talks on Life coming back at you with another video. If you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I wanted to talk about, I did a video talking about the black femicide rate. I'm going to go ahead and link that video up in the description box. I'll put the link to that video in the description box. I did a video talking about the black femicide and how the black femicide rate is steadily increasing in the black community. I think it's every 5 hours, correct me if I'm wrong, a black woman gets killed in this country. Statistically, it's by, in most cases, it's by a domestic partner. Statistically, most of the cases are by a partner, a mate. And most cases are at the hands of black men. Not bashing, just stating the facts. There is a small percentage that are white men, but the most of the percentage of the men that are killing black women are black men. That's the highest percentage. It is what it is. And I'm noticing that more and more black women are getting killed as a result of domestic violence. The rates are through the roof. I had a story a couple of weeks ago about this woman. They think it might have been domestic abuse related. She was just walking down the street, pushing her baby, and some guy just came up to her and shot her in the head. They think that could have been a domestic violence type situation. And now Leandra is a YouTuber on here. Her name is Leandra. She does a really, really good job of highlighting these cases. Because a lot of these cases don't make mainstream news. A lot of them don't make the mainstream media. It's getting so bad to the point to where I'm thinking about devoting a whole channel just to that. Actually, I was thinking about devoting a whole. Actually, I was thinking about devoting a whole channel to black community type news or things that's going on in the black community. But I was thinking about talking about the various different femicide cases. I'm thinking about it. Because it's getting to the point to where it's getting that bad. I can't keep up with it all. It's and sometimes, like I said, a lot of the cases don't make mainstream media, and because they don't make mainstream media, then it's hard to. You have to really do a lot of research and a lot of digging. You have to Google a lot of stuff. It requires a lot of research. But Leandra, the YouTuber Leandra, she does, like I said, she does a really, I think she does videos every day on the different cases of the black women getting killed and everything. So I think she does an excellent job with that. But yeah, I'm seriously thinking about devoting a whole channel to that because it's just that bad. And I think that we need to, us black content creators, need to highlight these cases and need to put them on forefront. And just, particularly if you're a bigger YouTuber, I'm still a smaller YouTuber. But I know I did a case on this one black young lady that got killed in police custody. And that video got like 80-something views. So, by me being a smaller YouTuber and not getting a lot of views, but it's still good to highlight them. It's even better when the bigger black content creators get that stuff out. You know, because mainstream media is just not. They're only going to cover so many of the cases. It might hit their local news in that city, but as far as mainstream media, they're gonna miss it every time. They're gonna miss it every time, because whatever happens with black women don't get talked about on the mainstream media as much as white women. So it's just that it is what it is, you know. And that's the problem, and that's the problem because there's not as much concern when it comes to black women. There's not as much concern, you know. And then sometimes major news outlets they care more about their ratings than they do people. So they'll put the stories out there they feel it's going to get, you know, the most viewers. And in most of those cases are concerning white women, white people, you know. So it is what it is. So, us black content creators, it's good for us to get it out there, put it out there, particularly the bigger ones. So, but I noticed that it's happening more and more. It's happening more and more. Black women are getting killed in domestic violence situations even more and more, and it's really it's at an alarming rate, and it's just it just makes me heartsick when I hear a lot of these cases. It just makes me heartsick, and only thing I can say is black women, please be careful out here. Please be careful. I know a lot of black women want to think that, well, black women need to get away from white or black men and date other races. But then it's still happening at the hands of other races. It's still happening at the hands of white men. It's the percentage is a lot lower, but it's still happening. It's still happening though. So um, I'm just gonna say, black women, you need to be careful. You black women need to be careful. I don't care what color the man is. I don't care what race the man is. You need to be careful. Of Probably more careful with black men. I hate to say that because statistically, it's a higher rate of black women being killed by the hands of black men. But dating, or if you're dating any other race of men, you still have to be careful. You still have to take the time to vet the man, um, do background checks, check the background records. Um, you can check criminal records. You can do all that. You can do all that on the internet. If you live in a smaller city, ask around. Word of mouth. Um, and pay attention to the warning signs. If you're dating a guy and he's acting a little bit like he's a little bit too controlling, or if he talks about his past relationships, and there's a lot of times when they talk about their past relationships, there's red flags. When they talk about their past relationships, there's a lot of times there are red flags. When they tell you certain things happen in the relationship, and she called the police on me, and whatever. Sometimes they give them their own selves away just by when they tell their little stories. They give their own selves away. So, ladies, you gotta listen, ask questions, uh, do background checks. You really, really, really have to be careful. If it's somebody that you're meeting online, a lot of these women are meeting these men online. I wouldn't tell the man. I know when I used to date online, I wouldn't even tell the guys where I lived. You know, there was only one guy that I dated that I took it a little bit further, but I talked to him on the phone for 6 months before I even met him face to face. But most of the guys, I met them in somewhere else. I didn't bring them home. I met them somewhere else. Well, I think it was only two other guys that I met face to face. I met them somewhere else. I didn't bring them to my house. So don't bring them to your house until you really, really, really get to know them. Really, really vet them. and making sure. And I think women, that's the main problem. I think women move too fast. Women have the tendency to move too fast. They meet somebody and then they don't know them that long, particularly if they got children, and they bring the man home and then haven't known the guy that long, and then something happens. That's very dangerous. Very dangerous. Very dangerous. I met someone years ago. Well, it's a long story. This was before, in the 90s, before social media, and I met someone. And to make a long story short, I picked up the spirit and picked up something. I happened to pick up this guy's spirit, when I picked up the spirit, I picked up it wasn't good. I picked up kind of an evil spirit with this guy, and then it was a situation to where me sometimes I'm always feeling sorry for folks because he said that he was homeless and was living at the shelter, and that's where I should have left him. And now this was back in the 90s, way before social media and all this. And I made the mistake of letting him come home with me, and because I felt sorry for the man, but I didn't want to be in a relationship with him or nothing like that. But I sometimes fall into that, feeling sorry for people. And that's another thing. If you're a kind-hearted person, you can't be feeling sorry. And then, to make a long story short, the man almost raped me, and by the grace of God, he didn't. That's making a long story short. I might go into more detail about that story another time, but this was before social media, Google, and all that. This was in the 90s. But it was a situation to where I was feeling sorry for the man. But when I should have followed my instincts when I did pick up a bad spirit from this guy. And that should have been my cue to get rid of him. And then he wound up stalking me. And then I had to call the police on him. So by the grace of God, the man didn't wind up hurting me or my son. But that's the thing. You have to be careful when you're first meeting guys. Don't be so quick to bring them home. And particularly around your children. And you haven't checked them out. You haven't properly taken the time to get to know them. And I think a lot of women are making those mistakes. You can't be so hard up for a mate or companionship to where you don't stop and think about these things. And women want companionship, and all those feelings are normal. But then you have to really be careful, black women. You have to be careful. All women, but particularly black women, because black women are getting killed at a much higher rate. You have to start being careful, black ladies. Talk to your daughters. Talk to young black women in your family. But please be careful. Pray about situations. And in that situation, God did show me this, because I picked up a bad spirit with this guy. I literally did. I didn't even want him touching me. It was that bad. So that was my cue right there. And so that's what I'm saying. If you follow your instincts, ladies, follow your instincts. Your instincts never lie to you. If you get a bad instinct, if you're around a man and you get a bad feeling around this man, if you feel any kind of fear of intimidation around this guy, just run from him, run. He is not the one. And so I think where ladies mess up is that they don't follow their instincts. Follow your instincts. In the very beginning, there's a lot of things that will be revealed, but you gotta open up your eyes, you gotta open up your ears, you gotta pay attention. Follow your instincts. Your instincts will never lie to you. That's nothing but God. That's nothing but God coming to you, and he's trying to tell you this person is bad news. So you got to listen to that inner voice. You got to listen to when God is trying to show you, don't deal with this person. And a lot of women, they're getting those feelings and those instincts and they're ignoring them. Don't ignore them, because your instincts can save your life. That's what can save your life. It saved my life. Even though I made a stupid decision, but my instincts ultimately wind up saving my life. So you got to follow your instincts. You gotta follow your instincts, ladies. And then, like I said, with social media and Google and all that, you can get online and you can check all those things. You could check a man's criminal records. Might cost you a little money, but can't put a price tag on your life. It's worth it. Check to see if he's been in prison, all that. And then if you check his prison records, his jail records and prison records, and you see that he's been in jail for domestic violence, run from the man. If you see that he's been in jail for domestic violence, you run from him. But you got to do your homework, ladies. You got to do your due diligence before you even get into a serious relationship with the man. You got to thoroughly check this person out. You have to check them out. You know, check them out, guys. Because this is really, it doesn't matter what race he is. It doesn't matter because it's like I said, white men are doing it too. It's at a much smaller, lower rate, but they're still doing it. So it's like black women just need to be careful. And then by black women getting bashed consistently on social media, I do believe with everything in my heart that that plays a role. These men are listening to this garbage and then looking down on all black women. So you gotta pay attention. And you got black men out here that hate black women. They hate black women. And so you gotta pay attention to those things. These guys be on the internet and they be saying terrible, horrible things about black women. Well, these guys are going out into the world. Yeah, you don't know who they are on social media, but then they go out into the world. They may be these same guys that saying all this evil stuff is going out into the world, and you don't know what they're capable of. And you never know. You might mess around and run up on. You might run up on one of them. You might run up on one of those guys that be on social media saying evil things about black women and hateful things and about black women. So you might run up on one of them guys. So you got to be careful, ladies. You have to take the time to vet these guys and check these guys out. Follow your instincts. It can save your life. Because these cases, it's at an all-time high. These terrible, horrible things that's happening to black women. It's like a war out on. There's a war out on black women. So black ladies, all women, but especially black women, please be careful out here. Please be careful. Don't let your loneliness and all that stuff override your common sense. And pray, 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 pray. Power of prayer is powerful. Always pray about people. And that includes myself. Don't be so kind-hearted to the point to where sometimes men like to play on that. Don't be so kind-hearted to the point to where that's another thing, you know. You know. So you got to be careful, ladies. You have to be careful. Okay, hit me up in the comment section. Hit the subscribe button, the like, and the share. And notify me. And until the next video, be very careful and be blessed.